Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. I am very excited because this is the first unboxing of 2023. This is a brand new release, the Rolling Stones in Mono box set from ABK Records. Now, full disclosure, they did send me this free of charge, but my opinions are my own throughout this video. Now, this is very, very exciting for me because this box set is a reissue of a box set that came out in 2016. Now, I missed out on that original release and I am bummed because the prices, while they're not as high as the Beatles mono box set, they are getting up there. And so to have this as a reissue is very, very, I'm very grateful. Now, that original issue was limited to 10,000 boxes. This new reissue is also limited to 10,000 boxes, but it also comes on colored vinyl. So every release, every album and compilation on here is on different colored vinyl. And the other big difference between these two box sets is that that 2016 issue came with digital downloads. This does not. But other than that, though, they're almost identical. Now, like I said, I don't have an original to compare to, but just based on photos, they look nearly identical. So that's really cool. And I just love the fact that they're reissuing this because I know there's a lot of people out there who missed that initial pressing. And I think, especially this era of the Rolling Stones, it is vital to hear them in mono because just like the Beatles, I mean, that was the intended listening format for their music. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool to listen to them in stereo, but you got to check them out on mono, and to have it all in one place is just fantastic. Plus, and we'll get into this more, but there's an exclusive double LP compilation called Stray Cats, and what that does is compile a lot of the random, I shouldn't call it random, but the mini singles that were released during this time period that did not appear on albums, and also just like different edits of songs, you know, single edits and whatnot. So it's really cool. The Beatles did something similar with the mono box set with the Mono Masters. It's kind of the same idea, just taking these orphaned singles that were issued at the time and put them all in one compilation. So I'm really excited about that because I didn't have that, and it's so cool. So with all that said, let's get into this. Let's show you the box and then I'll get into the contents and then wrap it all up. So right away, beautiful front cover here, and on the back you have what's included. I'm gonna go ahead and just set that down like that. So we have a numbered limited edition, 16 color LPs, 150 plus tracks, heavyweight 180 gram vinyl, including a 48-page book with rare photos and an essay by David Frick from Rolling Stone magazine. And then it goes over all the included albums. And what I think is really cool is that they've included UK and US versions of, say, Out of Our Heads and Aftermath, and of course, Flowers, which is a wonderful US compilation. I love that. And of course, their Satanic Majesty's Request. I love that album. Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, and then there is the Stray Cats. So yeah, it is numbered. I'll show you on the bottom where it's hand numbered. And this is crazy. I don't know how this happened. Number 1 of 10,000. I've never in my life gotten the very first one. I think that's crazy. On the spine here, you can see the Rolling Stones mono, and then same thing on the other side. Now, one thing that's sort of interesting is, you know, I'm not sure if they mean for this to be removable. I think it is. I think because it's so loosely put on. I mean, this is more or less acting as like information on the back, and just the fact that it's just lightly tacked on, I think they intend for you to remove it. The Beatles mono box set had a slip cover that did the same thing, so I think that's what's going on here because it is already kind of coming up here like that. So anyway, now how this opens up is there's a magnet in there to keep it closed. So you just gently lift from a corner and it comes right up, flips around, And there are all the goodies. Yeah, let's just go. I'm just going to start with the book here. I'm going to move this back to give myself some room here. All right, let's start with the booklet. It's got a nice high gloss cover, and I'm just going to flip through it here. Let you guys check it out, all the photos. And throughout this booklet is the essay written by David Frick, and it is basically just sort of summarizing this time period, going over a little bit of the backstory, behind the scenes sort of a thing, and in some cases talking about you know, the differences in mono versus stereo, and obviously, you know, the US version versus the UK version of certain albums. And then here, Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed, there's a little note here that I'll point out on the next page that says, while these two albums were not originally released in true mono, with the exception of Sympathy for the Devil, they were released in stereo, and Fan Demand required us to include them in this package. So, which, yeah, I'm not opposed to that, but yeah, I do like the fact that they don't hide that. They do mention that. And then one last thing I wanted to point out. Oh yeah, and then he talks about the Stray Cats compilation and how it's sort of in the style of some of the greatest hits that were coming out this time, like Through the Past Darkly, big hits, that sort of a thing. Yeah, what's the last thing I wanted to talk about? The last thing I wanted to talk about is right here. It's a little hard to see, but it says Direct Stream Digital. So it's a technology that was employed in the mastering of these albums. So DSD uses extremely high sample rates to reproduce the full range of musical expression, far beyond the capability of ordinary recordings. You will hear every nuance of the original master tapes and the vocal quality as it was originally recorded. So it's small, but they're not denying the fact that this has been digitally mastered. So I'm not too picky on that. You know, it's fine. I'm sure there were good reasons why they went that route. So, okay, so that's the booklet. Let's get into the records themselves. And we're just going to go in the order here. Now, one thing I want to point out with the self-titled here is that they all come in these baggies, outer sleeves. So they have a self-adhesive back and a flap here, which I have a love-hate with them. I like these because they're thin, and the fact that they will fit inside a box set and they won't, because I want to keep all these records stored in the box, and this helps to prevent any ring wear over time. The same thing happened with the mono box set by the Beatles. The one thing I don't love about these is, yeah, we have this sticky part here on the back. I'm thankful that it's not on the flap, it's on the back, because I've had it happen where the record gets stuck to this flap. But even so, I sometimes accidentally will put the cover on the back here, and my heart sinks for a second, and you know, gingerly you can remove it if it wasn't pressed down too difficult or too hard. But yeah, I don't love these because of that fact. You can get a little careless, or I've been careless and accidentally set the cover itself down on the sticky part. So just be careful, just keep that in mind. I usually like to do this so that doesn't happen, flip it over. So yeah, cool. All right, so we have Rolling Stones debut here. Nice, really high gloss, sturdy card, not quite, yeah, I would call it a cardstock feel here for the cover on the back there. And it's interesting, all the dates here are 2016. So throughout this, including the booklet, it all has the copyright of 2016. Something to keep in mind if you're out there. You'll have to inspect the vinyl itself to know which version you're picking up. Another thing to note is that all of these albums come in just plain white paper sleeves. Here we have side 1, and there's side 2. All right, moving on, we have 12 by 5. Again, high gloss. I think all of these are going to be high gloss covers, very similar construction. There's the back there. Check out the record itself. We have side 1, and there's side 2. Oh yeah, one thing before I put this away, I wanted to compare it to my original issue of the Rolling Stones 12 by 5. Yeah, this one obviously is a stereo version, but one thing that really jumps out right away is the print quality of the original issue. It's more photographic. Like you can see a lot more detail in the skin. It's not as contrasty or sort of washed out, especially in the black. Like this looks more, this down here looks much more black. This is not as quite as black. Also, you'll notice here the 12 by 5. Here, it's almost, you know, these darker parts are translucent, like you see the back cover, whereas this is more of an orange. Just subtle little differences like that. Probably they had to recreate this cover. And then on the back there, again, you can kind of see, if I get rid of that glare, you can see how this is not nearly as contrasty. There's a lot more variations. The black's not as crushed, whereas here it is. You see a lot more detail. Yeah, but you can see it's subtle differences. Obviously, this is a recreation. And I think they did a great job. Probably this original layout is gone to the sands of time. And so, yeah, I just, you know, I wish this wasn't crushed as much. I was hoping we could get a little more detail out of that, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I'm just stoked to have this in mono. All right, here we have Rolling Stones number 2 on the back there. Here's side 1, and there is side 2. All right, here we have the third American release by the Rolling Stones. This is the Rolling Stones Now. Here's the back. You have side 1. Ooh, this has actually got some glitter to it. That's cool. And there's side 2. Now, I actually have an original mono that I'll compare it to. So here they are side by side. One of the big differences you'll notice is that there's London record logo on the original, and there is not on this reissue. But overall, pretty darn close, I would say. I would say this does a really good job matching everything down to the mono in the corner. And let's check out the back here. Yeah, very similar. The contrast really matches up. Andrew's text here goes a little longer on this one, as you can see. But yeah, you know, they recreated this long plain record text up at the top. Yeah, they did a great job here. You know, slight differences, but again, it's not a deal breaker to me at all. It's just awesome to have a great plain copy, because this one, as you can tell, is beat up. I keep it because it's just cool, man, and it's got such a history behind it. There's Braille up here, like, so, you know, the previous owner was blind, and this is how they, you know, they went through the record collection, was putting these, you know, putting Braille on the album cover. I just think that's so, I don't know, I love thinking about who owned it before me, what was their story, you know, what were their favorite songs, that sort of a thing. All right, then we have Out of Our Heads. This is the US version. There's the front, here's the back, here's side 1, and there is side 2. And again, I do have a stereo original pressing to compare it to. It's a little different, obviously. I would say in terms of the photograph, they are very similar, a little different color hue, but I'm not going to complain about that. And on the back there, kind of see some of the differences, similarities, and all that. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the photograph reproduction that really makes it for me, and this is really well done on this reissue. I'm going to hang on to this because I do want to compare it to the next one, which we have the UK version of Out of Our Heads. There's the front. Here we have on the back there. Here's side 1, side 2. Yeah, I just want to kind of show how different these two are. I mean, yeah, there's a few songs that match up, but there's just totally different orders. Yeah, I mean, they're almost completely different albums. So I'm stoked that we get both of them in this box set. Then we have the 5th US album by the Rolling Stones, December's Children and Everybody's. There's the back. And here we have side 1, and there's side 2. I don't think it's coming across, but there's a little bit of variation in this silver color. Not quite glitter, but just like dark and light little specks. Add some nice depth to it. Here we have Aftermath, the UK version. Here we have side 1, and there's side 2. Here we have the US version. There's the back. There's side 1. There's side 2. Now, this is not silver. This is more of a gray color, just in case this appears very similar to that silver color I showed earlier. And real quick, I want to compare it to this stereo pressing that I have. Pretty similar. Yeah, this is very good print quality of the photo. I like that a lot. And there's the back there. Pretty similar recreation. Obviously, it's again, just with all these reissues, they're slightly different. And then I just want to compare the UK to the US version real quick. Interesting how they use the same photos. It just really, brought the contrast super high, almost to like a 1-to-1, or, crushed the blacks and the white. I kind of feel like this is more effective, at least for me. I just think that looks really cool. And then, yeah, similar songs, a little closer, but you get less tracks on the US version, but you do get Painted Black, which did not appear on the UK version. All right, now we got Between the Buttons. Oh, that's awesome. On the spine here, we have Between the Buttons, and there's a parentheses UK. For this one, it doesn't have that at all. So you'll just have to know that that was a US release. Kind of curious about Out of Our Heads. Yeah, same thing for Out of Our Heads, US and UK. Cool. So getting back to Between the Buttons, there's the back. Oh, I always love this logo. I thought it was so cool, especially the way it plays with Between the Buttons. Side 1, side 2. Just for fun, let's compare it to my US copy here. A little different, obviously. You got the border on the UK version and the back there. Very, very similar. We're getting closer to having a cohesive discography on both continents, but yeah, still a little different. Moving on, we got Flowers, which is the 2nd US compilation. I love this. I almost think of it as another album, so I'm stoked that they included this in this box set. There's the back, and here's side 1. There's side 2. I just wanted to compare the labels really quick. I think they did a great job sort of capturing the feeling of the era with the London labels. And let's compare it to my original US stereo pressing here. Very, very similar. Colors are slightly different, and this is more of a semi-gloss, not quite matte finish. This is a high gloss, so that's a little bit different. But they did a great job recreating this cover. And on the back there, it's sort of interesting to see how much smaller the flower is on this reissue. It makes me wonder if the mono edition was the same way, or this is just how they chose to do it. I don't know. Okay, now we come to one of my favorite albums from this time period, Their Satanic Majesty's Request. And, right off the bat, you can already tell that this does not have the lenticular front cover. This is my original, I think it's a stereo copy, US copy. You can see there, and also you can tell this cover back here is again more of that semi-gloss, whereas this is a high gloss. I do have the 50th anniversary edition that you can see right there. This has more of that semi-gloss cover to it. But yeah, it is a gatefold, so let's open that up. And there's the back there. This was a cool release. This was the 50th anniversary edition. It comes with the album in mono and stereo on both CD and vinyl, plus a 20-page booklet. So if you don't have it, I recommend picking this one up as well. Here's side 1. There's side 2. And, you know, as much as I think a white record is cool, I feel like they missed an opportunity to give us like just one swirled, marbled record in this set. I think that would have really fit the this album. All right, moving on, we have Beggar's Banquet, and this is the original rejected cover for the album. So it's so cool to have it because the version I have is an original US pressing with the original cover there. Much more subdued, not as interesting as this. There's a gatefold image, and it is a very close reproduction of, or at least comparing it to my US pressing here. Looks fantastic. There's the back. Gosh, that's so cool looking. I love this idea where you can see the track listings out as graffiti if you really, you know, zero in and look. Just, I wish it came out this way. It's crazy that it didn't. Here you have side 1, and there is side 2. Okay, here we have Let It Bleed. This is really interesting. This cutout right here, red equals mono, blue is stereo. Oh, nice. I was wondering if it was going to come in a recreation of the original UK sleeve. This is my favorite part. This record should be played loud. Love that. This is a very brilliant red. Here we are, side 1, and there is side 2. And just for comparison, let's check it out to my original US copy. Yeah. Pretty darn close, just different color casts, really. And finally, we have the Stray Cats compilation. I really like the idea that they reused this Beggar's Banquet cover design. You know, giving it some respect, honoring it, that sort of a thing. Pretty cool. There's a gatefold. Love this shot of the band. Brian just looks so determined right here, or sleepy, I can't tell. And there is the track listings. So cool. We have side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. So yeah, I went ahead and weighed all the records, and 9 out of the 16 LPs were under 180 grams. The worst offenders came in at 172, and that was the US version of Aftermath and 12 by 5. The rest were, you know, 174, 175, I think 177, 176, that sort of a thing. And there was quite a few that were over 180 grams. There's only one record that came in at exactly 180. But to me, that's all within accepted tolerances in terms of vinyl manufacturing. I don't know what the industry standard is, but for me as a vinyl listener, that's fine. These aren't like grossly under like 120 or 150. My only real nitpick with this box set is the fact that they came in just plain paper sleeves. As many of you know, plain paper has a tendency to leave fibers behind, and also they can potentially scuff the surface of your record. Whether that damages it, I don't know, but I don't like them. I will definitely be switching them out for rice paper like sleeves, like the MoFi sleeves. That's, you know, so I'll definitely be doing that. But other than that, I love this box set. I think it's fantastic. I'm very excited to finally have a lot of these albums on vinyl, to be honest, and in mono, which is fantastic. The quality overall is very good. You know, comparing it to the Revolver box set that came out in 2022, that had the edges on those records were not nice. These, while not, you know, perfect, there were some barbs here and there. They all felt really nice. Overall, pretty flat records, so I'm impressed with that. I like the variety of colors. you know, there was a couple instances where I wish they went a little more creative, but I can understand that, you know, anything other than a solid color just adds to the cost, right? And speaking of cost, let's get into that. Should you pick this up? So let me check Amazon at the moment. I am currently taping this on New Year's Day, 2023, and the pre-order price is $428.20. And that doesn't include tax. So I don't even know what tax. Well, tax is going to vary depending on where you live. But that raw price without tax is roughly around $27 an album, or a record, since there's 16 LPs, but really there's only 15 albums, because obviously Stray Cats is a double LP. So yeah, I mean, that's roughly on par to what things are costing these days. And then you have the nice box, and then you have the included booklet to go with it. So I think it's on par. I don't think it's exorbitant. I don't think they're overcharging for this. That being said, absolutely you should pick this up, especially if you missed out on the original 2016 pressing of this box set, because that's just going up in price. No doubt, once this sells out, it will also go up in price. So now's the time to get it. I know it seems like a lot of money, and I'm with you, it is. But I still, if I hadn't been sent this, I probably still would have picked this up, because you get a lot of bang for your buck. You knock off a lot of their albums, a lot of their sought after albums. Plus, I love the fact that they included both US and UK versions in that beautiful Flowers US compilation. I love that. So yeah, there is a lot to love here, and it's so great because when I was going through a lot of my original pressings, man, they are beat up. So now I have some beautiful plain copies. That's the other thing I want to talk about. I haven't listened to all of these yet. I put on Their Satanic Majesty's Request because that's like the album I really know very well because of the video I did on it. But sounds great. I cranked that record up and it sounded like Mick Jagger was in the room with me. I'm really impressed with the quality of these records, and I have to assume they're all within the same vein. You know, I could be wrong since I haven't listened to all of that. So take that as a caveat that I haven't listened to all the records, but what I have heard, I've really enjoyed the quality of it. I'm very happy with this box set. I mean, I encourage you, pick it up. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna look great on your shelf, and yeah, I really like it. So let me know what you think with a comment down below. Are you planning to pick this up? Do you have the original black version? What did you think of that version of it? All right, until then, I want to thank you all so much for watching, but I especially want to thank my members over on Patreon. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.